Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to crack open the playbook for anyone who's ever dreamed of making it big in the food and beverage world. We've dug through all the expert reports and financial guides to give you a 5-step blueprint for success. All right, so let's get right into it. What does it really take to win in the food and beverage scene today? Well, the answer has changed a lot. It's just not enough to have the best coffee or the tastiest burger anymore. The market's way too crowded for that. I mean, look, a great recipe, that's just the price of admission. The real game, the one that leads to lasting success, is built on a solid foundation of numbers, tech, and some seriously smart strategy. Think of it less like an art and more like a science. And today, we're breaking down that formula.
Okay, so we're going to start at the very beginning, the absolute ground floor. Pricing a single item. Honestly, if you get this part wrong, nothing else you do is going to matter.
So before you can slap a price on that latte, you have to know your cost of goods sold. We just call it COGS. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the total cost of every single thing that physically goes into your customer's hands. The ingredients, the cup, the lid, all of it. This number is the bedrock of your entire business. And this is a really important point. Your COGS, that's your coffee beans, your milk, the cup, the sleeve, all that stuff. But what's just as important is what it isn't. It's not your barista's paycheck. It's not the gas for your truck. We'll get to all that stuff in a bit. So what's the magic number? Well, for a lot of folks in the biz, the golden rule is to aim for a COGS of around 25%. That means your raw materials should only make up a quarter of the price. The other 75%? That's your breathing room. It covers everything else and, hopefully, leaves you with a nice profit. And that 25% number leads us right to this really simple but super powerful trick, the multiplier method. It's basic math, right? A 25% COGS just means you take your ingredient cost and multiply it by 4 to get your price. So if that latte costs you $1 to make, you're going to charge $4. It's a simple formula that can seriously make or break you. Okay, so we've got one perfect latte priced out, but how does that one cup translate into the health of your entire business? Let's zoom out a little and talk about going from costs to actual profits. All right, this is where things get interesting, and you've got to know the difference between two key terms, gross margin and net margin. Think of it like this. Gross margin is the money you have left right after you've paid for the ingredients. But your net margin, that's the cash that's actually in your pocket after you've paid for everything else. Your staff, your rent, fuel, you name it. That's the number that truly tells you if you're winning or losing. So let's put some numbers on it. For a coffee truck, if you're hitting a gross margin of 60 to 70%, you're in a really good spot. But the true test, the real measure of success, is that net profit margin. If you can keep that in the 10 to 20% range, well, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Okay, you've got a killer product and your pricing is on point. Awesome, now what? You need people to sell it to. And just like with pricing, you can't just guess anymore. Technology has completely changed the game when it comes to finding your crowd. You really have to think about this in two ways. First, there's the micro level. We're talking about apps like Snack Tracker. These are amazing because they create a direct line to your biggest fans. You know, live GPS, little alerts that pop up. It builds that loyalty. And then you've got the macro level. This is the big picture stuff. We're talking about incredibly powerful tools from companies like Buxton. This is like having a secret weapon. They use aggregated mobile data to answer those million-dollar questions. Stuff like, is this a good corner to park on? Are my hours right? Who am I losing customers to? It's a total game changer. So your day-to-day is running smoothly. It's time to think bigger. We're talking about scaling up, maybe landing a spot at a huge music festival or a big corporate gig. And that means you got to master a whole new skill, negotiation, the art of the deal. And here's the secret to being a great negotiator. You have to understand what the other side is dealing with. Take a festival, for example. Look at their budget. Huge chunks of it, like what they spend on stages and sound systems, actually have a lot of wiggle room. And every single dollar they can save on that stuff is a dollar they don't need to try and get from you through vendor fees. The pros, they don't just walk in and hope for the best. No way. They follow a playbook. It's a simple 4-step process. You do your homework, you get multiple quotes to create a little competition, you think about creative win-win ideas, and this is the big one, you get everything in writing. Do that, and you turn what could be a headache into a real partnership.
All right, for our last piece of the puzzle, let's look ahead. Because being profitable today is great, but staying profitable, that means you have to know what your customers are going to want before they do. You got to be skating to where the puck is going.
So, what's coming down the pipe? Well, according to a big trend report from Southern Glazers, the first thing is luxe low alcohol beverages. And we're not talking about sad, forgotten options anymore. These are sophisticated, premium drinks. Think non alcoholic spirits, fancy sparkling teas. They're becoming the star of the show. Next, get ready for Asian flavors to go to a whole new level. We're all familiar with things like lychee and yuzu, but now we're seeing these really complex, savory ingredients pop up. Things like shiso, sesame, even miso, adding this incredible umami depth to drinks. And trend number 3, it's all about going small. Tiny pours, half-size cocktails, tasting flights, they're absolutely blowing up. And it makes perfect sense, right? People want to try new things without committing to a full-price, full-size drink. It's a super smart way to let people explore your menu. And what's driving a lot of these trends is this idea of functional ingredients. People want their drinks to do something for them. So we're seeing this huge boom in things like elderberry for your immune system or lion's mane mushroom for focus. Your drink isn't just a drink anymore. It's a little wellness boost. So when you put it all together, what have we got? From the cost of one paper cup all the way to global trends, the playbook for success today is crystal clear. Look, having a great product, that gets you in the door. But winning the game, that takes a mastery of spreadsheets, apps, and supply chains. And that, right there, is the most important thing to remember. Success in this business isn't some finish line you cross. It's about constant, relentless innovation. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, what part of my business am I going to innovate next? Are you going to toggle your pricing, your tech, your menu? Because whatever you choose, that's where your future begins.